The month of May on our property is such a beautiful time. It's when we really start seeing the wildlife becoming active. We are privileged to have a front row seat right in our very own backyard. I planted some new flowers a few weeks ago, and it's rewarding to finally see the blooms. I'd love to have some mature perennial gardens eventually, so I have an experimental garden I'm using to test out potential plants and see what works well so I can better map out the gardens when we're ready for more landscaping projects. This is Limpy Boy, a wild Canadian goose who was injured and lost his foot last spring. His story deserves to be told, so we'll elaborate in a future video. A few days ago, I installed this waterfall spillway in the duck pond, hoping it would also aid in filtration, but either way, Archie's enjoying it. Every morning, I come out and skim the pond surface. Every 4 to 5 days, the water gets completely pumped out with a sub pump and refilled. I'm hoping this waterfall filter gives me a few extra days before it needs to be pumped out again. This is Archie, our male mallard. He's in his eclipse molt, which means he doesn't have his striking colors right now, but he still looks so handsome, and he knows it. I plan on doing a full video of the installation of this waterfall, so check back for that. But so far, so good. Every morning, I start with the ducks. Then we walk over to the chickens while I let them forage. They stay close for the most part, but I usually walk them back before I actually start my chicken chores for the day. We call Gertie the huntress because she loves to forage. She's usually much better at it than Archie. She's most happy when she's looking for worms. This is Millie, our bearded Duclay. She's the smallest chicken I've ever seen, but she is mighty. She isn't afraid of anyone or anything, and she doesn't let her size limit her. She's very curious, and she always has to be involved in the action. I used to let the girls free range for a few hours during the day until a hawk almost got Millie. Luckily, she escaped and went into hiding until dusk, and then came back. Ever since, I made some changes to our coop. More on that later. The girls have a coop with 2 auto doors and 2 fully enclosed runs on each side. I have 9 chickens, and they are all currently laying, so I get about 6 to 9 eggs per day. Biddy here is starting to go broody, which means she wants to hatch eggs. We don't have a rooster, so it won't ever happen. So I try to keep her out of the nesting boxes to prevent that behavior. All of my chickens are different breeds, so I get all types of egg colors and sizes. Brown, green, blue, white, large, and small. I told you Millie always has to be in on the action. I thought the outside of the coop could use some color, so I made this flower box out of scrap wood, mostly extra shiplap from our kitchen walls and leftover trim. I wood glued and nailed it all together, sanded it, primed it, and then painted it maroon. I planted some chicken-safe herbs like oregano and marigolds. The marigolds are great for pest control, and they're filled with antioxidants. They also aid in helping the egg yolk color. Plus, they just add a nice pop of color to the coop. I have multiple feeders and waterers for the girls, so that those lower on the pecking order don't have to compete. I have a hanging feeder from Tractor Supply. And an automatic pressure plate feeder, which took a little bit of them getting used to and enticing them with treats. Eventually, Helen was the first one to figure it out, followed by Millie, of course, and then the rest followed suit. We've got 2 sets of girls. I had 4 chickens originally, then the following spring I got 5 more.
Oh, hello! Oh, hi! Hi, sweet chicken. Hello!
Everybody accounted for?
Yeah, all 5 of them.
I know. Yeah.
Hi, Katie. There you go.
They have a few tree branch perches inside the protected runs that they like to nap on during the day. It also gives them a place to sit when we're not home to let them out in their fenced-in area. I've recently transplanted some lilac bushes in the fenced-in yard. I'm curious as to how well they'll do here. We keep the grass long to give them some interesting foraging spaces. Plenty of grasses and natural flowers grow here, like fleabane, wild strawberries, and blackberries. I think this gives them plenty of space during the day and keeps them occupied. They seem to really enjoy this space. This area is by no means predator-proof. I mentioned earlier that they used to free range when we were home during the day. But after the scare with Millie, I needed to make something fast to keep them under the protection of the trees, but also make sure they stay close to the coop and within eyesight. This has allowed them to stay outside during the day without wandering too far. I have a water source in the enclosed run, but I also like to have one outside in the yard as well. The enclosed runs are filled with wood chips, and I add to them or rotate them every few weeks. Of course, Millie has to supervise. We use all natural wood chips from bushes and branches around our property, and it's worked well for us so far. We have a lot of brush clearing projects that we work on here, so having a wood chipper like this really helps. And of course we have a dust bath composed of sand from our property, pure wood ash, and I sprinkle some First Saturday lime in there every so often. They use this every day to bathe and cool off. This yard is composed of 10x deer net 7-foot fencing, using some T-posts from Tractor Supply, zip ties, and some wooden garden stakes to hold up the height. Before this, I had it folded in half, using it as a double-walled 4-foot fence, but the younger girls were flying out. So I wanted to test the high height before making a formal fence, and it's worked out great so far. The plan is to continue to update this setup with a proper fence and landscaping, so if you're interested in following along, feel free to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and consider giving a like for Biddy.